Hello friends, so till now we have seen how to create a basic website with foreach2Bi Smarty MVC PHP framework. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. Now we are going to see about some basic form classes. Right. So how to open a form, how to close a form, all those things. Right. So these are very much useful when we are working with a registration or when you are trying to get a input from the user. So I have not created any screen, so these links will be blank only. So forgive me for that. Right. So let's start our file. Right. So form open. So index.php. Right. So we will just remove it. Right. We'll add some CSS file, so it looks better. Right. So we'll go to assets, CSS, template.css. I'm not touching this bootstrap because once you are thorough with these things, bootstrap will automatically, I assume like bootstrap you will be uh, very much familiar, and if you want bootstrap in action you can see it from example point of view. So I'm not touching anything from bootstrap. So just template.css file. Right, in this I'll just call, sorry, so as first my thing will be star margin 0 auto padding 0. So this enters my area, right? So I'll just make it as container. So this will be a class, right? So I'll just make it as width 960 pixels, and I'll have it as a login form. I'll have ID as login form, which is margin top will be say 50 pixel down so that I can see it. Right, so it's a basic form we are going to create. We are going to create a login form, right? So I'll come down here. So this is how we normally create a form, right? So just come here. I'll just open my container, div class equals container, and sorry, form method equals post. So action equals which controller which action, right? So actual action will be controller slash function, right? If you are going to use file, you give it as file or whatever it may be, right? So what is missing? So these two are more than enough for time being, right? So we'll make it as input type equals text, and name equals username, and value equals say any value for each, right? Again input type equals password, name equals password, value equals, so it doesn't have any value, so I'll just make it as blank, right? So go here and give a enter. Yes, we have it here, right? I think yes, I think I didn't give the form ID, right? So form ID equals form login form, login form, right? So I'll have my label here, label for username, 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 again here label for equals password, so we'll have password over here, right? And then you can have it as a break, or you can have it as paragraphs also, right? So just go up. Yeah, we got everything set, right? So we have got a username and we have got a password, right? So instead of doing like this, right, we can use the helper class, so those things will be very useful. So if we just go here and see form open, you need to give which controller method, and rest will be as an array, right? So just copy it, just go here and paste it, right? So which controller function, where the form should go to which controller and to which function, so those things should be given here, right? So this should be given as an array attributes. So here you need to note how the Smarty will be taking array as squared brackets, right? So if we call it as method which is equal to post comma id equals login form comma action, sorry, action has already been taken off, so I'll just remove it, right? And then we'll just close form, just to close, right? And next, if you go to text, you will just use only these values, so just take it, copy it and paste it from there, right? So name should be username and value is for each, right? So name I will give it as username and should not be an array, I'll just make it as value equals for each, right? So similarly for password also I will be having it on my own, so just control D. Control D is a ID shortcut to copy the previous line password, right? Just change it as password, so there should be no value for this, so I will just mark it as blank. Okay, so here if you want you can add your own class also here, and required also, whatever it may be, it can be done over here. So just go down to the first page and define constant close, so should be small c form please to close, right? Right, and if you just go here and see the thing, so here you will have your own form created, right? Just give your controller and function, the rest of the action will be automatically got into action, right? So to see it in action, we will create one more controller, right, called user controller, new file and create user controller.php, right? So just copy it from home controller, just make it as, right? So just change the names plus user controller, right? As I told before, you need to have your index variable, because that is the basic thing you should work it out, and then we will say login, right? So here you need to check whether the variables are coming to this login, right? So, and again here you will have say echo no print underscore or dollar underscore post, right? So it should print out the post variables, right? So I'll just make it here, go to index function, I will delete this, right? And then the controller will be user controller and the function is login, right? So you don't need to actually specify user controller. It's okay if you just specify user only, it will automatically go to that controller, right? So again you need to have our submit here username, right? So we'll have your password here, so we'll have your our break here, right? So just copy paste, and then we'll have our submit button, right? So create a submit button, here is the value, right? So just copy it, Control C, and then the triple X, change it to submit value equals login. So that we are not going to send any array attribute because this is a test value, right? So that should work out, right? So username equals, you are getting a value, and password and login. If you want you can do the CSS styling also, but I'm not going to concentrate on the CSS styling, right? So if someone clicks login, it should go to user/login, and it's going to need to output your variables, right? So in this case if I type anything over here like password, right? So things should be output over here, right? So in this next tutorial, we will see how to validate the input values.